Hi there, I'm Karen from KarenTurpin.com. It's the 13th of February 2023 today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence versus the divine mind, really. I've been bombarded on social media in recent weeks with advertisements for me to sign up to the latest artificial intelligence. There's one that seems to be called Dan, there's one that seems to be called Jasper, and there's Chat GPT or something like that. Anyway, clearly I haven't paid that much attention to them, or else I'd be able to get the name right. But I'd like to explain to you a little bit about why I'm very, very resistant to them. But this story starts a little while back, when I was 14 years old, actually. I was at a party and I was offered drugs for the first time, some party drugs. Immediately, somewhere inside, I heard a voice, my voice, really, and it said, "No, never leave your body vacant, because if you do, something else will take it over." Pretty random statement for a 14-year-old at a party. I'm sure you'll agree. But anyway, I said no to drugs then, and every other time since. I know that's rare to be a person that's never tried drugs. Some people have called me very boring for that. They've told me that I don't know what I'm missing. But if they could see what I have seen in this multidimensional world, then perhaps they would not take them either. Your body and your soul consciousness are meant to be together. Don't leave either one of them unattended, because there are forces that actually do wish to take them over. I know that sounds very dramatic, but let me explain, because there are a few things here. And of course, it's based on my own personal experience of this, and you might have had something different. So here's the quote again: "Never leave your body unattended, because if you do, someone else will take it over." Well, honestly, at 14, I didn't really know what that meant, but the voice that I heard inside of me was stern enough that I paid attention to it. It really made an impression on me, and that impression has stayed with me throughout my whole life, of course. So I listened, I followed its command, and I guess the voice was my higher self, or my spiritual, my inner guidance, something like that. But anyway, it felt very real and very accurate to me. So in time, I began to see entities, dark, shadowy kind of creatures that look rather similar to the Dementors that you see in the Harry Potter movies, actually. And I noticed that these would hang around people that were using drugs. It's like as if they would come in and take possession of their bodies, actually, using the life force, really, and playing out their desires through that person's physical body. And that could be drinking more alcohol, it could be sex, it could be daredevil stunts, that the person wouldn't normally do if they were in their right mind. And also physical violence as well. I could see all of this happening, and it really looked like a cesspool of underworld creatures kind of writhing around. Pretty gross. And let me also mention that this is true with many of what we call the so-called spiritual practices or experiences, ceremonies. So yes, including plant medicine. Ayahuasca, mushrooms, tantric practices, ecstatic dance, all of these kind of things. I have seen these Dementor-like creatures hanging around, moving in and out of people's bodies. I know that's pretty wild, but it's a real true experience. I've seen it. So I learned that if you are not conscious and in your physical body, as a kind of gatekeeper, really, that sometimes these creatures can come in. So, okay, I know it was a bit wild. But I want you to open your mind a little bit now, and let's talk about the metaverse. I looked up the definition, actually, of the metaverse, and it says a single shared immersive persistent 3D virtual space where humans experience life in ways they could not in the physical world. Okay, so you put on some goggles or headgear or whatever, and you enter that world where you can do whatever you want in there. So it's really exciting, isn't it? And it feels like a whole real experience, even though it's not. But you can build stuff and you can own stuff and you can go places and you can have sex with people that you don't know, and you don't have to explain it to your spouse or partner because it's not real. And you're just in your lounge room, so you're perfectly safe and innocent, aren't you? Apparently. You don't even need to leave your 15-minute smart city for this excitement. You could travel all around the world in the metaverse with these goggles on. Another reason why you won't need to step outside of your 15-minute boundary of the smart city. That's probably a video I'll do another day, but I'm just hinting there. If you don't know what I mean, please go and look it up. There are no consequences in the metaverse, are there? Because you're safely sat in your lounge room just with goggles on. So what could go wrong? Well, a whole world of things could go wrong. There are consequences. So the problem is your mind can't tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. This is a psychology thing, and we know it to be true. You only have to watch a scary movie, on TV to know that your body is reacting to what it's seeing as if it were real in that real experience. Your heart rate will increase and your stress cortisol levels will increase. And then you might cry at something that you watch, or you might laugh at something that you watch. We call it entertainment, but it all affects our body. So we're looking at it on a screen and our body is believing it's real, and it's really engaging with that process. But the thing is, TV dulls the senses. It's a frequency thing, and there are many, many subliminal messages within the TV programs that they put on for us to watch. Go to sleep, go to sleep. Don't think for yourself. It's all designed really to get you to zone out. So when you're in the metaverse, it feels real. And then you take your glasses off and you come back to your boring life. The metaverse is super exciting. You want to be there all the time. You want to spend more and more time there. And you meet friends there. You have friends in the metaverse when you don't in real life because you never leave your lounge room. And you get a massive dopamine hit every time you're in there. Without fail, you can go off and do something really exciting that gives you this rush. It's a little bit like porn addiction, really. You always get that rush, and there's always somebody doing something that you think is pretty awesome that you probably couldn't get your partner to do, or whatever, or they look different or something. But anyway, it's exciting to your mind and your senses, and that craving and the dopamine. And that's why you spend time in the screen looking at this stuff, and your body believes. So you've been trained to love the dopamine hits through Facebook, through Instagram, especially Reels now, where you scroll and scroll and scroll, TikTok, of course. And when you spend time there, you kind of lose yourself in social media, don't you? And there's this bodily response, and it's very often stress, and it very often actually brings out the worst parts of us. We start criticizing people and, slagging them off for things that they've said. And we actually become not very nice people when we are absorbed into the social media for too long. And it dulls your mind a little bit too. And actually, it's a precursor to mind control, of course. Fear-based, trauma-based mind control. Okay, that's how we can become easily programmable, because it dulls the mind, puts us into fear, and then we take messages that they tell us will keep us safe if we follow certain things. So let's put the pieces together that I've spoken about so far. Firstly, I said there were drugs. With the drugs, never leave your body vacant because somebody else will take possession of it. I told you about the entities that move in and out of these types of nightclubs and pubs and ceremonies and things like that. Yes, even sacred spiritual ceremonies that are not guarded and protected by a proper shaman or somebody that is really able to hold space correctly. When you're zoned out on drugs, these entity things come in. That is just a statement of fact in my experience. So your consciousness separates actually from your body. Your body is vacant and it's open for squatters to come in and take up residence there. Some of them actually never leave people. And I've seen this many times in healing sessions when people have come to me after participating in some of these ceremonies. They've come and said, oh, I did this thing and never been the same since. And so I have seen directly that these things exist and they're there and they shouldn't be there. It's not their body. So secondly, I talked about entering the metaverse and the dulling yourself with TV or maybe Netflix or social media. Basically, letting your mind get lost in another reality that is far more exciting and appealing than your current life very often. So while your mind is over there, what's happening to your body and your consciousness here? Well, there's a split there that's happening, that's for sure. So, okay, let's go a little bit deeper now. So we know that the aim over the last few years has been to divide and conquer the population, or humanity. Those who didn't conform were supposed to be outcasts. You know, they didn't conform to this and you're over there because you're not part of us. You're either with us or you're against us. It was that vibe, right? Which is actually like the Salem witch hunt or trials all over again in 2020 to 2023 and beyond. So what it was designed to divide us as a people, as humanity, right at the time that we were meant to be coming together in unity as we all move into this new, it's a dimensional shift. So we were all supposed to move into a new dimension of reality, the awakening, right? But the dark agenda guys, they don't want that because they can't really access us in the same way when we come into the power and knowing of what really is our connection with the divine mind, or as we know ourselves as conscious beings, and become soul embodied. You know, the less we can be controlled then. So that's not what they want. They want divide, right? Because this is a spiritual war. The battle is for possession of your consciousness. So they are attempting to diminish your consciousness every step of the way in order that they can claim that consciousness as their own and kind of use it like a battery force or a power, because it is power. If we knew of our power, we wouldn't be in the state we're in the world right now. How they trace and track our likes and dislikes on social media or Google, for example, is how they begin to know you, to know our mind, to be able to tweak you to act in ways that they want you to act, or think and feel certain things that they want you to. They're reading you, not to enhance the customer experience as they claim, but rather so that they can get you to behave in the way that they want you to behave, basically by plugging you into a hive mind. Because if you don't keep your control of your mind, they will take it over, quite simply. When your mind is gone, your body is empty and they'll take that too. So you might say, well, that's impossible. But I've seen possessed people, as I've said. I'm clairvoyant, I can see it, but you can also feel it energetically when you are aligned to something that is true and real and authentic. You know that feeling, and then you can sense the other stuff. So imagine then if you get implanted with something into your body, like a microchip or some nanotechnology that, breaks your DNA down and, starts to take over your thought process. Well, yes, that's already happening to the people around us. The technology is there. Graphene oxide is there, or whatever it is that is receiving signals. It's like the Internet of Things, where everything is connected, the desktop and the phone, and it's connected to your fridge or your robot vacuum cleaner or whatever. It's the Internet of Things, and the Internet of Minds is connecting people to this bigger artificial intelligence consciousness field. That's what that's all about. So when you are connected to it via a microchip or some graphene oxide or whatever, that internet mind, the artificial intelligence mind, is fully capable of downloading you with its thought impulses, which you then take on and think is your own. So people that are already into this vibe, there are already people into this vibe, by the way. They are already outside of themselves now. They are unconscious of what's happening. When we are soul embodied, our consciousness is firmly planted in our body. That's the way, the divine intended for us, God, if you like that word. When your mind is completely theirs, completely plugged into their mainframe, well, then that's a choice. You chose that already. You may not have realized what you were choosing or what you were getting into. So I hope that this video makes you think a little bit at least. Basically, by choosing not to be here and not to be present in your body and not to connect with the intelligence and wisdom of the divine mind of which you are already connected, that's kind of like your first mistake, when you almost betray your soul, when you turn against yourself for something out there that's far more exciting, you think. It's really a little bit like the seduction of an addiction. It's escapism. So the more you are zoned out, the more the more that you're outside of your body, the more that you're looking out there for all the shiny objects, the more you're scrolling. And that's why people spend so much time scrolling, because it's so addictive. But the more that you're out there, you learn not to be able to think and feel for yourself, and you learn to not be able to cope really with your emotional responses. You learn how to you forget actually how to be in relationship. And so you tend to distance yourself more and more from people because it's easier in the metaverse. You don't have to explain your thoughts and feelings in there. You can just opt out at any time you want. So you can see the conditioning of taking your mind away from things. When you think for yourself, when you have emotional intelligence to be able to be in relationship with real other human beings, there's massive growth in that, and it's really what the soul came here for, that growth, that learning experience. And the more you do that, the more you can think for yourself. Now, the dark agenda guys, they want everyone plugged into their hive mind so that they can tell us what to think. But people are waking up, they're thinking for themselves. That's why we've seen so many protests in recent years, because people have an opinion and they are resisting this massive control that's sweeping the planet, really. Those people that are protesting are thinking for themselves. Well, apart from the woke people, of course, they're certainly not thinking with anything other than the hive mind and doing what they're told. Those people are lost already, I'm afraid. But there is another group of people that really are stepping up and thinking, and they can see how the Internet of Things, the Internet of Minds, the artificial intelligence, the tracking and tracing and control, they can see the potential of all of that to take our freedom away. And that's why they're out there protesting, speaking, thinking, and expressing their voice, their truth. Now, there's another group of people that they're after now as well. The people like myself that use the internet quite a lot. I write a lot of articles, and I create courses, and therefore I promote my courses, and there are many other people that sell their products and all of this kind of thing. So they're trying to, from my perspective, they're trying to seduce us into artificial intelligence. We don't need to think anymore. We don't even need to research anymore. We just need to tap in a few words into this artificial intelligence program, and it will tell us everything that it wants us to know. And it will bias our articles and things in a way that suits its agenda. There are a few around, aren't there? There's Dan and there's Jasper and there's Chat GT or whatever it's called. I have not looked at them in depth, I'll be honest, because I'm looking at the bigger picture of where they're leading us, and it's not a place that I want to go. Now, it's cleverly disguised so that it will seduce us, of course, because we're not completely stupid. We have to see that there has to be a gain for us, or else we wouldn't go into it. But the problem is, A, it's biased and controlled. B, it's not authentic, because it's not your work, but you're trying to pass it off as if it were your own work. And thirdly, the less you use your mind, the more you lose it. Older people who don't keep their minds active definitely show signs of diminishing brain power. And that's not just older people, So this is actually about choosing artificial intelligence over building your connection to the divine mind. As someone who's taught psychic development and meditation for 25 years now, I've always encouraged people to tune into their own knowing, their own inner guidance, and get the divine downloads that come uniquely and specifically to them, and to what is, their life experience and their soul purpose and what they're here to share. So this move to artificial intelligence, it really worries me. Handing everything over to artificial intelligence to create it for you almost makes you redundant. Do you even need to be here anymore when artificial intelligence is doing everything? People tell me I'm wrong because they can access more information using artificial intelligence than they could just from their own mind. And that might be true, because a lot of people have expressed their ideas and it's all gone into this hive mind, right? So that's true. You could access more there, but it's not embodied knowledge. It's not a direct experience of that knowledge that you're now putting over as your own. So actually we're going to end up with even more BS to wade through, because people are going to write things and put it forward as if they know this stuff, as if they've really experienced this stuff, when they actually haven't. It's just come from artificial intelligence in a form that they go, oh yes, well, here you go, here's my article and this is me. But it's not really. It's not a real experience. It's not authentic. Your own consciousness knows everything. Every life experience you've ever had. Your soul record has all of this information. Your subconscious mind has heard every conversation around it since the moment of conception, the moment that you were conceived. Your subconscious mind has taken that in. In session work with clients, when we're looking to the root cause of something, many of them go back, even in utero. They're not born yet and they can hear the mother or the father having this conversation. They're still in the womb, but the subconscious mind hears it and picks it up. Every life that you've ever experienced, past lives, future lives, parallel lives, on this earth, on other planetary systems, in other different realities and existence, is all there in your consciousness, written in your DNA. And granted, you don't know how to access it yet, but you can learn, because that's the divine intelligence that you have. We access past life memories all the time. So we just got to learn this skill, but it's all written there within you, in your DNA. And that's why your DNA is so precious. So when you hand everything over to artificial intelligence to create these things for you, it's not creating from your experience. It doesn't carry your unique energetic signature. And that's the vibration, the frequency, the energy signature that is used to draw your perfect for you client towards you, or your perfect for you husband, wife, friend, soulmate, whatever experience. It's that energetic signature that we need in its purest form, not manipulated by artificial intelligence. Your soul record is the wisdom that you've gained over many, many lifetimes. If you really knew what was within you, you would recognize yourself as a powerful, conscious being. You'd recognize the power that you really are, because you are a spark of the divine. And that's why protecting your DNA is so important. And that's why there is this grab for your consciousness to take it out of your physical, because there's power in that. It can be used by them to create whatever is their next dark agenda. And the problem is, once that connection with the divine is broken, it's kind of like you've been cast out in the ocean in a small boat in the pitch black with no navigation, and the lights are all gone out. You know, there are soulless beings here, and because the soul is already gone, they can easily become inhabited by these other dark energies, dark forces, even kind of off-planet extraterrestrial types of energies, you know. And that's why it's so important to keep your soul in your body and your soul connected with the divine through that divine mind, not the freaking artificial intelligence. There are people around us already that are lost, actually. They've broken that connection. They've turned against God, the divine. And again, many times that's choice. They choose that because they see it's the easiest way. Many times they've been seduced by fame or fortune or whatever. We only have to look at the big screens to see some of the sellouts there. You know, they're in Hollywood, they're in the music industry, they are in politics, they are in pharmaceutical companies, and they are all around us in the streets as well. This isn't just those elites up there doing that, because now they're trying to take our consciousness too. Now, don't freak out, because that's not necessarily our pathway unless we choose it, right? So how do we stay safe? Well, we stay in our body, first of all. We focus on our spirit, on the divine, God, whatever word is most appropriate for you, that feels comfortable for you. And you focus on living this human experience. Meditate, stay in your body. Don't try to escape by using substances that take you out of your body. Don't get lost in the metaverse. Don't get lost scrolling on social media, because it makes you mindless. That's the problem with these things. And yes, I use them myself. I don't use the metaverse. I haven't got those goggles, but I do use social media, of course, and I look at things, but I'm very aware. I can only scroll there for a short period of time because I actually feel a shift come over my mind, my brain, and then I know it's time for me to get out, because it's seductive. It's designed that way. It's addictive. So exercise your brain. Think. Have exciting conversations with people. Write. This is why journaling is so important first thing in the morning. You get up and you download the thoughts that have come to you through the night, because that's divine mind talking to you right there. Your higher self comes through in the form of dreams and downloads that you get in your nighttime or in the shower. This all exercises and builds that connection with your inner knowing, with your soul. So work on that, and that is your authentic experience. Authentic over artificial every time. Artificial is a different world. It's a different reality, and it's a false reality as well. So you came here to have a human experience, a spirit or a soul having a human experience. So have the human experience. Don't then immediately eject your consciousness out into the universe and go somewhere else. You came here for this physical human experience at this time when we all shift into a whole new reality, but still in a human experience. This is the ascension in the body. It's not that you're meant to come here and then immediately flick out again. That wasn't the plan. You've been seduced into something, right? If you don't keep your wits about you, you will soon discover that there's none of us left here. If we collectively don't keep our wits about us, I should have said, we will find that there's no humans left here because they've done something weird and we've all been taken out of here. That's not what the plan is. Some of these people are going to choose the experience that go off and do this metaverse and get lost thing. It worries me what will then inhabit their body in its place. It's possible that we'll still be splitting into the whole other dimensional reality that we came here to experience through this ascension process. But at this point, there's still a power grab going on for your consciousness. The human experience is about having relationships with real people, learning, how to love unconditionally, growing through those personal relationships. You can't do that in the metaverse. That's why some people think it's easier to just opt out. Think for yourself. Don't get artificial intelligence to tell you what to think based on its bias. You are powerful beyond measure. Just access some of your own consciousness and see where that takes you. And for goodness sake, get out in nature. Don't sit with goggles on in the metaverse. Make friends with real people, like-minded people, preferably people who still have a connection with the divine because their DNA is intact and precious and they know it and they've protected it. Because that's where real life is there, real experience. If you take the time to meet people and know people and you listen to what they've experienced in this life and maybe in other lifetimes, because that definitely comes through and influences us, there's far more excitement here than you know what to do with, really. But it's real. It's here in this physical world. So many people don't want to be in the 3D world. They want to escape it. But problem is they don't really know where they're going because they haven't taken the time to become conscious of what's really going on here. There's so much artificial everything, so much fakery everything. What I'm looking for is a real, genuine, authentic experience with you as a human, honouring and valuing your wisdom. And when I work with my clients, I can often see what gifts and talents they've come here to share with the world, what experiences they've had in other lifetimes that have enabled them to gain that knowledge and wisdom. That's what they're here to do, to bring that through. Because we are amazing. We really are. When we, tap into our soul, our consciousness. This artificial intelligence is a trap, pure and simple. So let me know the real you, the authentic you. Share your experiences, your wisdom, and let's build relationships. Let's be human, and let's be soul embodied. I'll see you next week. I hope this has given you something to think about. If you've got any questions, I'd love to hear your experience of all of this stuff too. Let's keep in touch. I'd love to hear how this goes for you and what your experiences have been. Okay, bye.